Michelle are podcast's most interesting and loving couple. Join them every week as this radio personality and this author come together to let you into their lives.
We got a few love and relationship topics to bring up. But first, you had a fun question for me here.
I thought I did.
It was something you don't have to cook that you don't make from a box. Something you don't have to have skill to cook, excuse me.
Yeah. I was scrolling through my Facebook timeline, and I came across this post that was shared by one of my friends, and it says, I love being Mexican because I don't have to cook weird shit like meatloaf. And she
sounds like you.
Meatloaf is disgusting. It doesn't have anything to do with my race.
No, I'm not saying about the race. I'm just saying you don't like meatloaf.
No, it's a piece of shit. But she commented and she shared it, and she added over it like, I may be Mexican, but I make a fire meatloaf. And so her husband goes, I can vouch for her. It's pretty bomb. And so it got me to thinking, like, what do you think I cook well that doesn't really need any skill? First tell me, what are some things that people cook that you feel like don't need skill to make it taste good?
Casseroles. Most casseroles. Any type of freaking casserole. All you have to do is, and same thing with like enchiladas. Because people always go the easy way with enchiladas. You're literally layering, dumping over, layering, dumping over, and layering again.
You know, I won't give you that one. I'll give it to you maybe for the Latin community, but like, I've tasted some nasty ass enchiladas made by black and white people. Like, hold on. No. Like, you don't necessarily need skill to make it, but you can't just be dumb. Like,
okay. But if we're talking about skill, we're definitely, I'm telling you.
I feel like you need skill to make enchilada. Because
you need skill?
Yeah, because it's a balance. You got to season the meat good, get your veggies in there or whatever. And then at the end of the day, you're layering it. But the first part is like making the meat and shit taste good. Or else you're layering shit on shit.
No, Michelle.
Okay.
Once you dump that enchilada fucking sauce on there all over, it literally changes the flavor. It gives the flavor to everything that's in those damn tortillas.
All right, we'll agree to disagree.
That's perfectly
on that
fine. What's something you cook though that doesn't take skill?
Yeah, but you feel like it tastes really, really good all the time.
Oh my God. I don't know. I really think you do a good job at making things, and you go above and beyond. But I will say chicken breasts.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Because like anyone can make chicken breasts is it's all meaty.
Yeah.
So like the fact of the matter is that the chicken breast, all the meat inside is never gonna have full flavor unless you like let your chicken brine for like a day.
Yeah.
You know, so I would probably say like just chicken breasts that you roast.
That's fair. I would say spaghetti. Like of my things that I cook, I was surprised you didn't say spaghetti.
I was going to say spaghetti because you do just throw the stuff in there. But again, like you take time to brown the meat. And if you don't know how to brown the meat, you can make it you can overcook the meat so it's tougher. So to that point, I give you credit with the enchiladas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you still have to know how to run the stove so that you're not overcooking your meat and it's not like you're chewing on rubber.
Yeah, but meatloaf is literally you take a pound of hamburger, put it in a pan, and put some ketchup on it, and then you put it in the oven for an hour.
They don't put anything else in meatloaf?
No, you do.
Like, you're just being funny.
Yeah, I'm just being funny. So the basic way to make meatloaf is you take 2 pounds of hamburger, You season the hamburger, and then you use breadcrumbs and an egg to bind it.
It's bullshit. It's a flat meatball.
Truth.
That's all meatloaf is. It's like just
meat casserole.
Just make meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're already bringing in the breadcrumbs and the egg mixture, then just make some fucking meatballs.
Yeah, but that's literally all meatloaf is. It's season the meat, add the breadcrumbs and the eggs.
Dump ketchup on it.
Dump your ketchup and barbecue sauce or your brown sugar and barbecue or whatever. Stick in the oven for an hour. Done. Like, that's all you need. You don't need any skill. You don't even gotta look up a recipe. There you go, everybody.
But it's so funny. I laugh a lot because, I take away from, it's funny, in the Mexican or the Hispanic culture, you were like, oh, probably to Hispanics, enchiladas are really easy if you're not from Mexico, right? But, like, the reality is like, for Hispanics, and I'm about to piss a lot of people off with this one, but for Hispanics, Mexicans, yes, they spend time seasoning their stuff, so their stuff always has great flavor. But they are probably the laziest in the Latin community because literally all their shit is a piece of thin bread with a bunch of stuff thrown on it. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you have to spend time sitting there making sure the meat tastes good and the refried beans taste good and the rice has flavor, but the reality is you're just taking a thin-ass piece of a tortilla. Or, like, come on. They serve up quesadillas at fancy restaurants, right?
Truth.
The easiest thing to make in the world.
Yeah.
The easiest thing. So if you mess up a quesadilla, we need to talk.
Truth, especially if you're one of those bitches with a quesadilla maker.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you have a quesadilla maker...
And you still fuck up a quesadilla?
Because when I learned how to make quesadillas, I didn't even know they made quesadilla makers. I mean, like, I should have. I felt like I should have known.
No, I feel that,
but
though.
But, like, I was flipping them shits on a griddle. Like, and then I was cutting it.
Old school. I love that it has the perforated sections.
Oh, me too.
It cuts your thing in four.
Oh my God. And then our quesadilla maker, because we cheat out here, it has the thing that you can make the thicker quesadillas.
Mm-hmm. And you can control the temperature based on how crispy you want it. If you don't want it too crispy, or if you do.
Yeah.
Like, it's I love kitchen appliances. That's when I knew I started getting old.
Shout out Hamilton Beach.
When I started getting really excited, we made a whole purchase. One of the first things I did was buy a lot of things for our kitchen. Mm-hmm. And we went all out because I love the kitchen appliances.
I love kitchen appliances. I like to cook, actually. One of the things I always said when I used to date was that I would marry someone whom I wanted to cook for. And so to have a partner I want to cook for and to have so many different kitchen appliances, and not even just like different kitchen appliances, but like, you bought me the most romantic thing in the world.
Oh, what's that? A ring?
Cast iron. Oh. You bought me cast iron skillets, and I cook everything in them shits.
I love cast iron skillets.
Oh my God.
I gotta give a shout out to my man Miguel, because Miguel would always talk about how much he loved cooking only in cast iron skillets. And that's literally what he does. Anytime he cooks for the family, most of the time, everything is done in a cast iron skillet. And I was like, I really got to get on this, Mm-hmm. Well, I got a cast iron skillet when I was living in Colorado in like 2019. And I made homemade burgers. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to know, how do these restaurants make their burgers so juicy without them,
Yeah.
literally in the oven in a cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
And then you brown it off on the stove for like 2 minutes while you serve it. And I was just like, oh my God, it made such a difference. I never had something that made my food taste like that.
Oh, yeah. Burgers, steaks, chicken. And then I love baking in them because you get such an even bake. Because the whole thing
gets hot.
So, like, cornbread, anytime I bake cornbread, I bake it in our cast iron. And it's the best cornbread. Like, it comes out like
yeah, well, you've done it
cake.
before for us.
Yeah.
And it tastes so good.
It comes out like cake, I tell you. And then at the end of the day, too, it's so easy to clean. Like, versus all these nonstick pans and shit that are supposed to be easy to clean are not all. You still have to work to get them clean properly. And then not even just that, but like, for example, the copper-coated cookware that we have, along with our cast iron, has specific things. Like, there's a couple pots and pans we have that can't be in the oven higher than 400 degrees. You know what I mean? So when you have to start thinking about stuff like that, like, you could do anything with cast iron, and it's an efficient weapon.
All right.
I just say, ask Al Green's wife.
We got to get to music.
Okay.
Let's get to this article you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
This says the number one trap long-term relationships fall into, a marriage psychologist says. In long-term relationships, it's very common for people to link their unhappiness to their partner's actions. They think that if my partner texted me every morning, I'd feel less anxious, or if my partner wanted to travel more, I'd feel more stimulated. But those feelings of unfulfillment and dissatisfaction might not have anything to do with a partner at all, says Lisa Marie Bobby, psychologist and founder of Growing Self-Counseling and Coaching in Denver. I very commonly see people using false logic when it comes to their relationships. Bobby says that the way that they feel is because of some external circumstances. This could lead a person to ask their partner to shift some behaviors in an effort to alleviate their own initial relational anxiety. This is not only unfair to a partner, but generally ineffective. Instead of asking your partner to change, Bobby suggests asking yourself one question. What is it about me, my way of thinking, my core beliefs, my emotional management skills, or lack of them that makes me feel kind of meh in the context of a perfectly nice marriage? The false logic trap. So let's say that your partner is spending a lot of time at work and with friends. You might start to feel neglected and tell yourself that if they just spent more time with you, you'd be happier. This, Bobby says, is the false logic. This is interesting. This is the false logic trap. The false logic would be, if I were with a different person, I wouldn't feel abandoned anymore. Bobby says, in my experience, you would totally feel abandoned. It would just be for a different set of reasons. Attempting to change your own emotional state by controlling your partner's behavior does not work. Whenever people externalize the way that they feel, it creates this really difficult dynamic where people attempt to change their circumstance as a way to change their own emotional experiences. But a partner is not there to regulate your emotions. That's why it's important to ask yourself, what actions can you take to make yourself feel happier and not saddle your partner with that labor? That's an interesting trap. The false logic trap is what this article is about.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I'm not gonna lie, I never would have put a name to it before, I don't think, but I've been there, and I had to come to you and come to terms with the situation, and I had to tell you, like, this is what I'm feeling, and this is what I'm gonna do so that I don't try to feel this way. And I don't remember exactly what it was about specifically, but I know at the time you were spending more time in the office and you were gaming more. And, we talked about it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to talk to my friends more. Or like what could I do more of that I put off? And one of those things was talking to the girls. And I wish this didn't happen so long ago so I could remember like more circumstances, but I really appreciate how we handled that as a couple because it could have been something completely different. And like, yes, it's easy to acknowledge that you and your partner should have friends and like maintain those friendships, but it's not always easy to encourage your partner to do things away from you. And so, you know, I love...
Away from you in what way? Like physically or just like...
just in general. Like,
okay.
Like you want... Sometimes you just want to be around each other. You know, like sometimes we're laying together and you're watching YouTube videos and I'm reading. So we're physically together, but we're not doing the same thing. Whereas there are times where you're gaming with the guys and I'm on the phone with my sisters. And we're still physically together, but again, not doing the same thing. It's so easy for me to want to come in the office and be like, hey, can you entertain me for this, you know, time period? But it's my job to entertain me. I should want to spend time with you because you're my partner, not because I feel less fulfilled or because like it's my job to figure those things out. And so, you know, I'm glad we do a very good job about keeping each other honest when it comes to that. Or just saying like, you'll say like, hey, have you checked on your sisters or whatever, because it's easy to not do it.
Yeah, I never thought of this being a trap. My mom always taught me that if you don't like how something is going, just do it for yourself. So I more so would. It's interesting to hear a name put to it from a psychologist because I just think it's like self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? If you are feeling a certain way and you don't see a change happening, what are you going to do to make yourself feel better? Not just about it, but about everything else. You know what I'm saying? About everything surrounding it. So I think it's really interesting to hear from that perspective.
Well, I think what I like about this is the aspect of really asking yourself aloud. You know what I mean? Because it's easy. For me, this reads more like projecting. Like, oh, I'm lonely or I'm bored or I feel neglected, and I'm going to project those things onto you, when it could just really be something as simple as we got busy, you got busy at work or whatever. You know what I mean? So I love that the question first is to ask yourself, what is really making me feel this way? Like, is it an issue? Because at the end of the day, the question is it an issue that we need to resolve as a couple?
Or is it an issue that you're having personally?
Right. And then if that's the case, how can you talk to your partner about it in a way that keeps it healthy?
I love it. Behind every great man is an incredible woman.
I was going to say it's a lazy boy.
Mm.
Wasn't that their slogan?
I think so. All right. So showing some love to my man Riley Reed out in Virginia. He's a morning show host. Here's him and his co-host asking a question about a story or some advice they got, okay?
All right, so you ready for today's confession? My boyfriend said something about our friend the other day, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh, goodness.
I can't wait to hear how you approach this.
I went out for drinks with my boyfriend to introduce him to one of my newer friends from work. She's new to the area, doesn't know many people. She's really cool, though. I like her a lot. So I wanted her to meet my boyfriend.
Valid.
We all had a great time. When my boyfriend and I got home, I asked him what he thought of my new friend, and he said it was great to meet her, and he hopes we all hang out more in the future. Then he said something about how much he liked her hair.
I was going to say, did he say that she's pretty?
He changed the subject hella fast after that. Said he had to go work on a project for work, but I couldn't stop thinking about the comment. So the other day, I asked what he meant by his comment, and he tried to change the subject again. But I asked
so much
again.
worse.
He got up and went into the bedroom. It's all just really weird.
I feel like he's making it worse. He's just avoiding the situation.
I think I know what might be up, but let's keep going. Later that night, he asked me if I would ever be interested in growing my hair longer and dyeing it. For reference, my hair is not quite shoulder length and dirty blonde, and my new friend has long red hair, not like ginger red, like fire engine red. And I said I'd be open to growing it a little longer, but I wasn't really a hair dye type of girl. I swear I saw him frown after that.
It's just so weird.
Then I told him that my new friend had invited us out for drinks again tomorrow night. He tried to play it cool, but he seemed to change his mood pretty quickly. What's going on? Is my boyfriend into my new friend?
That's tough.
All right, so you get the idea. I bring this up because I think there are things you should and shouldn't say. And I think that there are things that you maybe should keep to yourself sometimes. Or if you don't want to, like, be respectful. I've never came to you and just, oh man, your friend's hot. Anytime I've ever like tried to convey that to you, first off, my point is to convey it in a way that it doesn't seem like I would try to ever be the creep to pursue your friend. Right. But also, I want you to know that like I'm able to appreciate attractiveness. So that's how I come to you about it. I'm like, oh, she's very attractive, or I can see why men like her, or stuff like that. But I don't know. It's really hard because this guy obviously was really, really into her for him to act that way, because I don't look at any of my ladies' friends like that.
You know, what's funny? I think they smashed.
That's what somebody else actually said.
Like,
he thinks that he knows her, something.
Because here's the thing. First of all, when you talk about like, oh yeah, I really like her. She's great. We should all hang out. Oh, and she's got great hair. Like, first of all, great hair is a really weird thing to say about someone. 100%.
He was yanking on that shit.
But more than that, like, if he left the room or avoided it, why are you avoiding it? Like, it's not because if you find your friend, like, as disrespectful as it is, if you ever told me like, on my show, so-and-so has a nice rack or whatever. Like, as disrespectful as it is, and I would be, annoyed because that's not who you are. But as a whole, like, I'd rather you say that to me than, like, give me some crazy comment about, like, oh, she got really nice hair.
She's got really nice skin.
And then, like, and then would you grow your hair to match her hair? You know what I mean? And so but I think that there was some kind of intimacy. I think that they know each other.
Yeah, I heard that as a suggestion, man.
And
that's good.
And so I feel like that they know each other. I also feel like this girl's new friend is not really her friend. And what I mean is, like, unfortunately, we still live in a time where women get jealous of their friends or have envy. And as much as you love that person, you care about that person, you still are insecure. And we're not always in a place where you can talk to your friends about it. Like, I talk to my friends about it. About, if they have something or they've done something that made me feel insecure, because it's not healthy for the friendship.
Yeah.
But I feel like this girl's probably a little bit insecure. And maybe she also doesn't have a lot of friends who accept her for who she is. Mm-hmm. And that's why she is harping on this so much. But I also want to understand, like, why is it so important to you for him to like her, but not too much? Like, I want you to like and love and respect my sisters because they're my sisters. So if they're going to come around, then don't just bullshit around. Ask him straight up, like, hey, I like her. I want her to come around. What's the issue? Or you're making, or, because you know what I mean? Because it's like, at this point, he's making her feel insecure. And then she's going to start questioning their relationship. So she's really opening the door. She made it worse than he did, honestly.
I feel like once you start putting yourself in a position where you have to question whether you should alter your body even if it's hair, your hair is part of your body, right? Like when and especially if it's not something that you ever did or wanted to do in the first place, I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy for you to be like, oh, so should I reconsider my dislike or my lack of want for hair dye? Like, if you're asking yourself that, that's a problem. Because if you don't like it, you don't like it. You have your reasons. If you don't want to grow your hair out, you don't have to grow your hair out.
Or like alternatives. Are you a wig girl? Ask him, like, is it her and her hair? Would you be willing to do a wig? Like, I don't really feel like she wants to resolve it. Like, I don't feel like she really wants this to be resolved. Because if she did, she would just talk to him.
Or if she did, she wouldn't have rescheduled to hang out.
Yeah.
All right. We have been teasing this since the beginning of the show. We used to always take some time to ask each other some fun questions, some relationship questions. It doesn't matter what type of question it is, just as long as we're able to pick each other's brain. We did it this way by asking each other questions that we found online. Were you able to get your questions?
I'm pulling them up right now.
Perfect. And make sure you go ahead and find Michelle's new book. It is How Much Can I See? Faith Over Fear, a book of poems that really are meaningful to her. So you can find it under Amazon as a paperback. You can find it at Barnes & Noble. You could also find it at bookleafpublishing.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so let's 100 fun questions for couples. We're going to deepen our relationship right now, honey.
I like when we do it deep.
Okay, very good. Especially when you're on your back.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready? All right.
All right, I want to go first.
Go ahead and go first.
So my first one for you is, what is a dream you had that you were able to make come true?
Oh my God, that's easy. That's being on the Elvis Duran show. I was a kid between like 7 and 11 listening to Elvis Duran, and especially when I was like 10 and 11, I would sleep listening to the radio station that he was on in New York. And I would, you know how when you have those dreams where like it's incorporated, the audio in real life is incorporated with your dream? Well, that used to happen to me. Like Elvis would be on the air and I would be in the studio and I would be talking, but it was weird. You know, they weren't responding to me. But I would be talking into a microphone in a room with them. And so, yeah, that came true for me.
All right, I like that.
Well, what about you?
Writing a book, publishing a novel.
You had dreams about writing novels?
Oh yeah, I used to always believe, after my first creative writing class, I think in middle school, I used to always want to write. I'm such a reader, and it was such an escape, and I always wanted to provide that escape for other people. And so being able to share my work with the world, like even if it's the only 2 books I ever have, because I used to say the only book, but now I've had 2. Yeah. So even if these are the only books I have, at least I've shared part of me with the world, and that's always been a goal of mine.
All right, so if you could start a business, what service would you provide, or what kinds of products would you sell?
I would own a strip club.
That's where the money's at.
I always have wanted to own a strip club. I have so much respect for dancers, and I always wanted to provide a safe space for them, because some people strip because they like to dance and they're comfortable with being hot, and I like that. It will be called Inferno, and it will be like made after the 9 circles of hell from Dante's Inferno. And so we would have like different theme nights and different costumes, and like people wouldn't have to be totally naked. They could just wear costumes, according to the circle that they worked in the bar.
Come in there with my genitals out?
I'd kill you.
Oh, you'd kill me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
In your strip club,
Yes.
though. I think I could do whatever I want in your strip club.
I'm not
I'm your husband.
But I'm not stripping in the club. I'm just running it.
But I'm not stripping either.
Danny, what's your next question?
Okay, no, what's your next question? You go.
What do you most enjoy about being in a relationship?
One person to come back to. Now, don't come after me, poly people. I'm just specifically saying, like, to me, I love the comfort of knowing that they're, at the end of the day, when all else fails, when I've had a crappy day, when a frappe gets all over me, that I have a person to come back to, and it's the same person every time who gets me and understands where I'm coming from and is being there for me with no judgment and not seeking anything in return.
That's beautiful, honey. I love you.
I love you. Let's see what's a good question for you. Who are your best allies and closest friends right now, and how can you make the most of those relationships?
You know, that's really tough. But I will say the Hen House women and
That's your group chat, the Hen House.
and then
Well,
all
and can you tell them why you gave them
because we're all like married or in long-term
a bunch of clucking hens?
relationships. Yeah. So
Okay.
all we do is like cluck. We talk about Dr. Phil and everything. But my Hen House ladies, because they make me a better wife, and I feel like in turn, you know, I make them better wives and girlfriends as well, and we have a safe space where we can get it out, and we know that we have a group of women who are like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes he's an asshole, or
Which by the way, this is the adult way to describe a girl's group chat.
Yeah.
Where they shit on us. But she's just trying to throw some, you know what I'm saying, some frosting on the shit, make it sound good. I like that.
no, it's not.
But this is
frosting.
not
It's-
anything different from the 18-year-old teenage chat group where they're like, girl.
So I would say my Hen House ladies and also my sisters. My sisters and I, we love each other sometimes to our detriment. And sometimes we forget that we need to give each other room to grow and room to fall. And so I think one of the ways I have been able to become better with that is to give my sister space to fall and let them hear the hard news and then still be there 100%, you know, when they get up and get ready to do it again.
I like that. I like that, girl.
Nope, it's my turn.
Oh, it is your turn, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, who are your best allies? Yeah, I did ask that. You're right. This is a fun one. Can I do this one? Yeah. If you could host a dinner party with 5 influential or famous people, who would they be? And we could definitely up the ante here and add dead or alive to this list.
Okay. Mine would be William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare.
Yeah, because I would want to understand, like,
Why the fuck he wrote that way?
no,
Oh.
why the fuck all these men could be like wearing dresses and playing the women in his plays, but nobody could be gay. Like I will.
Shut up! Shout out John Travolta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also bring back Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, but only because I want people to know, like, just because he did the Emancipation Proclamation and shit, he wasn't any less racist than anybody else.
All right, don't do that.
No.
He freed the slaves.
Good job.
Okay, that's all I learned about the guy. And then he got shot by John Wilkes Booth.
I hate you so much.
Okay.
I would bring back Maya Angelou because, you know, not only was she in
All right, the rest, Anne Frank.
I don't care about that bitch.
Oh. Harriet Tubman.
All right, you're out of control. 2 more. Definitely, I would want to have dinner at some point with Beyonce. Because
If you could host a dinner party with 5 influential people or famous people, who would they be?
Yeah, she's coming.
She's coming.
Yeah, she's my number 4 is
All
Beyonce. Right. And then my 5th person, Toni Braxton.
Toni Braxton.
I love that bitch. I need to tell you something.
You love Toxic.
Well, yes, but also, she's my idol. Like,
Michelle.
No, seriously, she deals with so many health problems, and she deals with so much shit, like with the media, and like sometimes she's dealing with drama, and like sometimes her family brings her into shit, and she just wants to get better from her lupus, but she's still out here like donating to charity, and like when she does have energy, she goes on tours and she raises her kids and she donates. Like, that woman is amazing.
I won't take that away from you.
I like her more than Beyonce.
Give me one last question, unless you want to try to squeeze in 2.
I'll say 2. So my next one is, if you could go away with 3 of your closest friends, who would you take and where would you go?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm taking you, Precious. You, Precious, and my man Joseph. And we're all going to a place I've wanted to go to terribly. Actually, you know what? We're going to make it fun. It's a cruise. We're going to go on a cruise to the Caribbean islands. I've always wanted to see St. Martin, St. Thomas, even Turks and Caicos. You know what I'm saying? So I think a fun cruise, but I feel like Shane would have to be there because of Precious.
He does. He lets her do stuff without him all the time.
I know, but like, it'll be like, awkward running car, right?
That's a teeny. Wait, I have one more.
One more.
Fun. Okay. So this one says, if you could become influential by simplifying one thing that's overcomplicated, what would it be?
Oh my God, that's a good one. I would say stress relieving, or like the ability to focus on things that you need to in the moment instead of stressing.
Okay, I like it.
Like stress coping mechanisms, because people ask me all the time, like, how do you react? Do you stay mad at things? I react in the moment and I deal with it. Like, people are like, are you stressed out about certain things whenever there's a stressful time coming up? And I'm like, no, not really. Like, I only get stressed out if I see something that pertains to it affecting me in the moment, but I never just let it linger and just let it be part of my part of the things that I think about until I have to deal with it again.
That's true. You're one of the most zen people I ever met until you're angry.
Yeah.
Like, it's really disgusting, actually. I really hate alcohol. Because I'm like, well, Danny, I'm so upset. But why? And you'd be like, Michelle, stop worrying about it. We can't do anything. And I'm like, you're not making me feel any better. What am I supposed to do?
I love that about women, right? Like,
oh my God.
Hold on, no, because we need both sides of this, right? Where that goes back to the conversations about like men or women are gonna focus on it because it's fucking with their emotions, right?
Yeah.
Where men's logic is like, bruh, there's literally nothing you can do. So like, you're the backbone in that regard, and she needs to have the emotions. You know what I'm saying? She needs to stress out like that. And I don't mean in a bad way, but like, we need all of that to like succeed and function in this world. I think if we all just had logic, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, you're right, because I tell you all the time, like, how much softer you've gotten, especially, you know, since having Precious in our lives. Mm-hmm. And you're so logical that sometimes you forget to be soft, or like you forget to think about how someone else might feel about something. And I don't mean it like you don't care. I just mean like you're very direct And so if it doesn't directly impact you, you don't always think about how it might impact someone else.
Right. No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. We got to head out of here. We barely have any time. We love you. Thank you so much for listening.